Hi everyone, we are back on our new YouTube channel, Raid OverSimplified. Raid Shadow Legends is finally available on Plarium Play as of today. It looks really good and hopefully it is not going to crash. Either way, I think it's a great new feature. Today I am going to oversimplify our girl Maulie Tankard. Her fusion is currently ongoing with about a week left depending on when exactly you're watching this. I fused her a few days ago, but I'm behind on food making, so we do not yet have her 6-star. I was going to do that today, but the double void epic legendary summoning window was announced for this weekend, and I'm hoping to pull something. Yeah, pull something. Great joke to open the video. Alright, back to Maulie. Most people have already fused or are unquestionably going to fuse her before the fusion window closes. I still feel like there are a lot of people not seeing her full potential, so I'm going to make a case as to why I think she has almost unmatched utility as a hard crowd control champion, and my thoughts on some ways to gear her. Specifically, let's talk about the strengths that makes her unique, as well as how to navigate her weaknesses in subjective comparison, of course, to other premier crowd control champions in the game. Number 1 of 1 crowd control champion is obviously Hegemon. Not a whole lot to say about this guy. He crowd controls by not letting you take your turn and then stomping mercilessly on your face. That is probably less a subjective opinion and more of a cold hard fact, one of the very few we are ever going to have on this channel. Normally, with crowd control abilities, you have to take into account resistances, affinity, weaknesses. This guy's passive transcends all those mechanics. If you've ever pulled 2 of him, put one on 300 speed and the other one with no speed, a lot of people are going to be very mad at you. After Hegemon, we have the also void Soulless. He has a 3-hit random that removes buffs and places a provoke in its place on a 3-turn cooldown. Right? Reading this is just going like, what? He is so good that the Night Revenant faction is actually fashioned after him. Beyond him in the Ogre tribe, we have Gurgle the Ogre. Gurgle, he has a ability that removes a buff and have a 100% chance of freezing your whole team and then taking an extra turn. So his 5-turn cooldown is basically a 4-turn cooldown. We're not even talking about his passive. In my opinion, and this is just my opinion, rounding out the secondary tier cluster behind the arguably broken Hegemon is Maulie Tankard, because the calling card of this group is reliability. Her crowd control is better than Martyr, Shirmani, Ray, Nethro, Bigon, Razin, etc., for several reasons. 1, because her provoke is a 100% chance to proc, and 2, because there's a 50% chance it'll be extended to 2 turns. Right? And 3rd and most important reason is because the ability is not a hit. The importance of that cannot be overstated. There is no affinity weakness, which happens 30% of the time on debuffs that are not hits. This is similar to Elinaro's Poison Explosion and Dracomorph's Defense Down Weaken. This is actually important for one other reason. If an ability that is not a hit does not proc a counterattack. I've always made the argument that Draco has a more reliable weaken and defense down than Venus does, because in that regard, Venus can be counterattacked, even if they do not have a counterattack buff in Arena. If you hit something like this Skull Crown I have here and it is critical, it is going to cause some problems. She is built to hit back, and you see her a lot in Arena with the AoE A1. That could cause your nuker to die or apply crowd control on someone that you really need to take a turn. Also, this thing right here is extremely common in Arena, Seeker. When hit with a critical, it buffs the ally's defense for the whole party. That is really annoying. I'm digressing a little, but the same concept applies to Martyr's Provoke, Shirmani's Freeze, so on and so forth. With Maulie, we will never run into that worst case scenario of landing a weak hit on our CC and getting AoE counterattack to a wipe. A neat thing about Provoke, that as opposed to other forms of hard CC, is that it is unaffected by the Wisdom of Battle or the Mighty Endurance defensive masteries. I know it's niche, but nonetheless is worth mentioning. Maulie is not a defensive bruiser. She hardly does any damage and she doesn't even really try, which is fine because she knows exactly who she is and her base stats fully reflects that. Stat-wise, she has two major things going for her. Her base stat of 107 in speed, which is basically a full speed set bonus plus a lore of steel, faster than the likes of Martyr. Her huge base resistance of 80, which is incredibly useful because it will allow you to build her with both resistance and accuracy. So say you run into a Hegemon in Arena, she can resist his block skill cooldown and then provoke their entire party, which may very well get you a win. Crude example, but the point stands. I am currently level 6 for Spirit Champions on accuracy in the Great Hall, so looking forward to another 40 from that, and I can probably try to put another 20 or so on her for that 230-240 range, and we can put a resistance banner on her to give her 250 plus resistance, which will make her just a rock, completely unflinching. I also put a frost set on her to synergize with her provoke. I intentionally gave her more HP than defense to see if I can leverage the reflect damage buff to her advantage, but I am very seriously contemplating the frenzy set for her because with her extended provoke duration, and if she is taking that much damage, we could combo her on frenzy with her passive and Prince Kaimar. She could nearly have a perma provoke up for 5 or 6 turns, which I think is an eternity in this game. Just as an illustrative example of the difference, we are going to make this one run of Dragon 20 with both Maulie and Martyr in it. They are both weak against magic, but regardless, Maulie is going to provoke no matter what, while it is pretty likely that Martyr is going to miss on someone. Right, like so. And if you miss on this Tyrell, he gives you a defense down, and this Horden hits you, it's entirely possible that they wipe your team. And with that concludes our video on the oversimplification of Maulie Tankard. Great name, hugely popular at raves. I know we didn't talk about her revive and barely mention her passive. May or may not be broken right now. I hope they'll fix that soon if it is. She is not Martyr. I'm not saying she is better than Martyr. She is just better at the singular facet of crowd control than Martyr is. Martyr is so sought after because she combos so well with herself. She is like Tony Stark's arc reactor, right? Just a self-sustaining powerhouse, putting out gigajoules per second. Maulie is much more of a team player, and in my opinion, she is absolutely elite at what she does. If you watch my video on Fire Knight 20 that I uploaded yesterday, she can very easily be a replacement for Arbiter with her affinity advantage especially. She provides crowd control for the early waves and revive on a 4-turn cooldown with the extra block damage thrown in. That's fantastic. As always, comments and likes are very much appreciated. I hope you are enjoying the grind and have a great day.